Hello, Cancer. Welcome in. Welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name is Wendy Wing. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for Cancers, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Cross watchers are always welcome. So I'm tuning into the day's energy, seeing what divine messages, thank you, of guidance come through for Cancers. What's hidden from Cancer? Thank you. Outcome and advice. Oh my goodness. Sure, we'll take it. That's a lot, but... All right, turn the cards over. Interesting. Okay, in the overall energy, we have the Ace of Cups in reverse, the Five of Pentacles in reverse, Hanged Man, Six of Swords in reverse. First impressions, it looks like you were raised to give from an empty cup. Feels like you were told this is what love is, to abandon yourself, to sacrifice yourself. This programming, this way of teaching, it doesn't feel like you had a choice. It feels like this is how you were raised, to not care for yourself, to abandon yourself, to sacrifice for others. There's something about, if you were raised in an environment where you learn to love yourself, where you were in an environment that was for you on a soul level as an independent being, then you would know your worth and value, and know that you are valued and loved just as you are, that you don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to give and give and give to try to gain someone's love and affection. That's what it feels like you were taught, which kept you over-giving and abandoning yourself. And it feels like that's what you thought love was. This is what love is, abandoning yourself, giving up, sacrificing yourself completely for someone else, carrying others' burdens, carrying the emotional burdens. Feels like in the family of origin, you have someone, maybe several someones who are very reactive, scary. And instead of leaving that environment, it feels like you're not even allowed to acknowledge how reactive they are, how out of control. You're not allowed, you're not given permission to have your own feelings about that or escape. It's a very nerve-wracking way, anxiety-filled, insecure, which is part of this established way of being, of keeping you off kilter, keeping you thinking that there's something wrong with you that you need to fix. You need to work really hard to chase their approval and affection and fix things and make things right. This scary environment, it feels like you felt like it's your job to bring the peace, make the peace, keep the peace. This is training someone to be an enabler, to stay in a toxic system and make it okay. Don't complain, don't have needs, don't have your own needs and wants. Carry everybody else's burdens. Whew, heavy reading. All right, what does Cancer need to know about this? So it's been a challenge for a long time for you to find yourself. Challenge being Three of Wands, Queen of Cups. There you are, showing up in your reading. It's been a challenge to be yourself because you're not raised in an environment that creates individuals, that rewards independence and individuals. This is a very codependent, toxic type of structure. Belief systems. It could be your family believed that way, your society, that the greater community, maybe a religion to back that up, that this is acceptable. Looks like I'm talking to a Cancer who it has been challenging. This way of relating to yourself and to your world, over giving. It's been a challenge to heal from that. It feels like what I'm tuned in with the Two of Wands is you're about to embark on something. You've made a choice. You're going towards your highest excitement. Something that's very soul fulfilling for you on a personal level, Cancer. You're having to face doubts, limitations you have about yourself. Feels like the act of going after what you want, you're showing yourself how healed you are, that you've moved past a lot of these beliefs, these limiting ways that you used to show up. What does Cancer need to know about the Two of Wands? It's been a challenge for you to detach from people, environments, situations who aren't for you, even though there's emotional connections, like this is someone to you, this is a relative, this is whatever, for whatever reasons. What's the King of Swords in reverse? Oh, I read. Okay. So we're moving from family of origin beginnings to, it looks like, a relationship. It looks like you maybe got out of your family of origin and went into a relationship where it's really hard to leave. You thought that this was your happiness, but it feels like this person that you were in a relationship with was more like one of your parents, manipulative, controlling how you see yourself. Feels like this person has to be the current grand poobah. Hey. Very manipulative, very controlling. I think you thought you were finding your happiness. This person might have created a bait and switch where while you're dating them, they're saying, yes, we're on the same page, we want the same thing. And then after the marriage, after a commitment, they change. Anything else the viewer needs to know about this? It looks like, if that's resonating, that someone pulled a bait and switch. They love bombed you. They said, oh my gosh, we want the same thing, Cancer. And then after the ceremony, after the wedding, after some type of next level of commitment, they wanted you to be committed. Then they showed who they really are and what type of relationship they really wanted. And I'm also getting that maybe you were operating in good faith, but this person was not, and never intended to the conscious agreements that you said. You might have married a player, someone pretty smart, relatively speaking. Very good at manipulating people's perception, very good at lying, deceiving, creating illusions with a few words, a few brushstrokes, misleading statements, lies of omission. Anything else about this player energy? Yeah, they're saying that they're your one. This is amazing. They might have moved very quickly. What's the rush? But that's part, they needed to close the deal here. If they were honest about what they wanted from a relationship, you never would have agreed. So they had to manipulate you and lie and deceive you into this relationship. Feels like it takes you a long time to realize. Hi, JJ. That's JJ, my blue parakeet. You thought that this was your happily ever after. But over time, there's this realization that this is not your happily ever after. This is, I'm hearing a nightmare. This is a lesson. This is not your stability. This is not your security. And there's a need to heal from this type of relationship. It feels like because of how you were raised, to center someone else and overgive, that this person got you in that energy and you centered them and you overgave in the relationship, making it really hard to find yourself, find your energy. Looks like you're going through some healing right now, Cancer. All right. In what's hidden, we have the Hierophant in reverse. A broken contract, Taurus energy, not traditional. What does the viewer need to know? Breaking from tradition, broken contract, Magician. Oh. There's something here. It feels like what I'm seeing, what I'm tuning into here, what's hidden is in this relationship. Feels like a romantic relationship, maybe a marriage for some of you. The person you were married to, in the commitment with, that was not playing fairly, that was getting you to abandon yourself, to sacrifice. Feels like within the marriage, within that, you started finding your own connection. I'm not saying other people. It feels like you start finding your connection, to source, healing from this programming, this way that you were raised to overgive. Feels like you started healing and finding, maybe becoming more conscious, wanting to consciously create, Magician, what you want from the world. And it seems like what I'm picking up here is that the person you were in a relationship with felt threatened by your independence. If you have your own energy, if you have your own independence, if you don't rely on them for your finances, for your joy, for your love, if you can find your own alignment with source and with your higher self and ground it into this reality, then you're not codependent on this person, and that's a problem. You might have at that time started speaking your own mind. having new ideas, claiming your sovereignty for yourself. You sure as heck weren't finding your happiness and your fulfillment, soul fulfillment within this type of relating by sacrificing yourself for others. Yeah, Queen of Swords just came out. It looks like you started learning inner discernment. And that's a problem for a controlling, manipulative environment. Okay, so what I'm seeing is this person, from their viewpoint, feels like you abandoned them by choosing yourself, by creating the versions of yourself that you preferred to be, by being discerning. It feels like you started healing within this connection, and you became less easy to manipulate, to wound, to confuse. So you're finding your ground, recognizing what's truth and what's not, learning how to heal and love yourself within this connection, and that's not acceptable to this person. There's some type of work that you are doing, but it feels like you were doing inside the relationship. Something that you were working on, something that was helping you carve out some space for yourself. Something that you were creating mastery in. So you were becoming independent inside of a codependent relationship, which is not acceptable. It feels like they're seeing it as your trouble. You're not controlling. You're not controllable. You're not woundable. You're not easily manipulated. You're becoming harder and harder to take from chronically. Wow. All right. What else is in what's hidden? Ten of Cups, Queen of Wands, and then the Hanged Man energy again coming out. Yeah, this person's trying to tell you that your happiness is in what they want. If you make them happy, then you'll be happy. But this person feels miserable. And when they're happy, it doesn't come back to you. This person, it feels like the more you invest in them, the smaller your returns on that investment become. So it might have gotten you into this energy of giving and giving way too much until you're completely empty, void. There's nothing left to give. Exhaustion. It looks like at some point in what's hidden, there's this discussion. It feels like between two other people. They're talking about you. And they need to make you stay in that hanged man position so you can't. Oh, they're sacrificing you. Like you need to be taught a lesson, something like that. What's interesting is it feels like you, despite what you go through, you find this way of being happy anyway, of choosing to be happy. It feels like you're on the DL, keeping your moves to yourself from within this relationship. And Okay, this gets a little scary. As you are finding your independence, going after what you desire, there's this need to put you back in your place, to wound you enough that you could never recover kind of energy. With the High Priestess and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, it feels like, Cancer, I'm talking to someone who's very intuitive. On some level, you're being guided through this, protected. You're not accepting whatever they're projecting onto you. You're not going to play. You're not going to obey. You're not going to be complicit in. It feels like they used to be able to manipulate you, and whatever they projected onto you, that you would kind of fall into line with and agree. Become that. And it looks like you rejected that. I'm tired. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in becoming who you need me to be, to sacrifice myself. It feels like you said, I don't want to sacrifice myself for this person. There's just a no. And with the High Priestess, it feels like you are being guided through this. All right, Cancer, let's get through this ending in the advice and outcome. We've got a lot of cards here. We've got the Knight of Pentacles. Ooh, Tower. 8 of Cups in reverse. 8 of Pentacles. King of Cups. Ace of Swords. Page of Wands. And Page of Pentacles. Some of you might have children with this person, which adds a whole other layer of complexity to this. Feels like life, while you're still inside this relationship, is so slow going. You're doing the best. You're planting seeds. You're trying to create from within this connection. But this person and this environment are not supportive of the version of you want to become. They don't want you to be independent. They don't want you to have your freedom. They don't want you to take your power. They don't want, because it's like your soul is so much larger and more powerful, and the role that you have been playing is just so cramped and so small and boring and dull. A lack of imagination. Feels like when you finally let the tower collapse, the false reality. This is tough. Allowing this, maybe pretending that this is working. Whatever you were working so hard to keep this relationship together. Feels like when you stop fixing and just allow it to fall away, this false reality collapses. It feels difficult, but it's happening for you. It's hard to walk away from this. It feels like you've invested a lot in this relationship. You gave so much of yourself. So naturally, it would be hard to walk away from. And purposefully, it's made, this type of energy is made so it's very difficult to leave because of maybe emotional attachments as well. Again, there's something that you've been working on, and it feels like that's helping you focus and get through all of this. Feels like what you're working on is helping you find your independence. It's helping you mature emotionally. Because to stay in this relationship and relating to people in this way, you stay emotionally immature. So when you're in a toxic structure, maybe toxic structures your whole life, when you leave them, you got a lot of toxic beliefs and toxic habits. And that's okay. Learn, find them, recognize them, change. It feels like when you leave that connection, when you let it fall apart and stop trying to fix and keep everything together, and it feels like it's falling apart for you, so you can have that freedom, so you're not stuck in a tower constantly trying to keep a tower alive, trying to keep everything together, just letting it fall apart. Walking away, even though the attachments are difficult, and whatever you're working on is helping you refocus, giving you a sense of purpose, dedication, and the emotional maturity that you gather from going through these experiences, and the truth that you wield with this Ace of Swords. This feels like not only your protection, this Ace of Swords, speaking the truth, justice, victory. Feels like this is your medicine, this is your protection, this is who you are, the truth. Feels like you can have the truth about yourself. That helps you change who you are, to who you prefer to be. In this image, the falcon on this person's hand has blinders on. I don't think the people you've been around can perceive you accurately. They've just projected their limitations onto you so chronically that they can't see you, Cancer. They're seeing their projections onto you. And it feels like part of what the habit, the toxic energy here that you might have been stuck in, and maybe some of you might still be stuck in, is trying to convince people to see you constantly, maybe even in your head, constantly trying to convince and think about, how could I say this in a way so they can see me? How can I word it? If I word it in this other way, maybe they'll see me. If I could just find the right words, then finally this person can see me and understand me. They don't want to understand you. They don't want to perceive you. They think they see you correctly. It's what they project onto you is who they think you are, and they want you to match how they see you. They get to dictate who you are, and you need to match their version. You deciding, I don't see myself that way. I like me. I see myself this way. I don't agree. I'm not going to comply. Looks like what your freedom. Going after what you desire and your willingness to have a beginner's mindset are setting you apart, are helping you. Your willingness to reconnect the dots in a different way, learn a different way of showing up, learn a different way of relating to others and following your excitement. Feels like your answers. That feels complete. Way to go, Cancer. I hope this reading was helpful. Thank you so much for allowing me to translate these messages for you. Thank you so much for all your comments and all your likes. I read all my comments, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So take care, Cancer.